Brooke, Lineberry, and the name of my speech today is Actions Speak Louder Than Words. Yes, I am talking about body language. Here at Toastmasters, we know that body language is extremely important. It's also very important in our daily interactions with people. I'll be talking about the context in which we should judge body language, facial language, and then the rest of the body. So first, context of body language. The first thing we know about body language is the crossing of the arms. Everybody knows that that signals anger, distance, maybe being uncomfortable. If I'm at a party, for example, and I see somebody sitting like this, I'm probably going to be like, whoa, they need some distance. I'm probably going to leave them alone, give them some space. Really don't have much to do with them. They're indicating that there's some kind of problem by having their arms like this. So in that context, that's probably the assumption I'm going to make. However, if I go to a different place, such as a Toastmasters meeting, for example, and somebody is sitting like this, kind of staring straight ahead, not really interacting with people, I'm probably going to assume that they're nervous. I'm taking a public speaking class right now in college, and our professor had us look at a video this week, and it listed the people's greatest fears. 57% of people have a fear of public speaking. Only 22% of people have a fear of death, which means people actually prefer the threshold of death over public speaking. So if I saw somebody sitting like that in this meeting, I'd probably assume that they're just nervous and uncomfortable. I might go over to them and give them some words of encouragement, maybe talk to them to loosen them up a little bit. I wouldn't be like I would at a party where I might just give them some space. How about a hospital? If we're in a hospital and we see somebody like this, I might consider that kind of normal. Hospitals make people very uncomfortable. Usually if you're at a hospital, it's for a bad reason. Usually you're there for an emergency, some kind of surgery, a family member is in distress. So I might take that into context and not assume that they're just angry and give them space. I might talk to them, encourage them. So it's very important when you're looking at body language that we take in the context of where it's at. Another feature of body language is the face. We've all heard the windows are the eyes to the soul. Eye contact is very important. Not just in public speaking, because in public speaking we know that that helps engage our audience, it helps keep their attention, and it's very important. It is also very important with just a one-on-one conversation. If I am talking to somebody one-on-one and my eyes are darting around like this, I'm looking down, it says a few things. It says, I'm not listening to you. It says what you have to say is not important. And it says, I'd rather be somewhere else. That's why eye contact is important in that we don't look shifty. Now there's a new problem in our modern day society with eye contact that never used to be an issue. How many times have you been talking to somebody and they're like this, constantly checking their phone? That is so rude. What it says is, I don't care about what you have to say. You know, sometimes there are important messages that we need to give. We need to take care of things. And we should say, excuse me, I have something I need to check on my phone and I'll get back to you in just a second. So it's really important that we don't prioritize our phone over people. Another big part of facial expression is smiling. And this is something that I personally have a little bit of an issue with. When I'm a little bit nervous, it is very hard for me to smile. And that is something I'm trying to work on, because it does say that I'm approachable and I'm friendly, and that keeps the audience engaged. So that is important that we do that. However, there's a caveat to that. We also want to be sincere in our facial expressions. For example, I remember a few years ago, my husband and I were trying a new church, met the pastor. He's like, hi, how are you? What do you do for a living? How are your kids? And he had this smile plastered on his face the whole time. We went back again the next week, same thing, and it was kind of like, okay, what's going on with this guy? Why does he have this smile that's plastered on his face, even though we're not talking about anything, you know, that's funny or warm? And it got to be where it seemed very insincere. So you can come across as disingenuous and insincere if you have something fake on your face if you're trying too hard. I mean, we should be cognizant of what we're doing and try to have that friendliness, but it can come across as insincere if it looks forced. So moving on to the rest of the body. We've already discussed the arms to some extent. Another way we can come across with our arms is we're just like this with our shoulders shrugged. We can look dejected, unconfident. I read something very interesting online this week that I had never considered before. The line was, "The truth is in the legs." I have never looked at anybody's legs for a body language signal. But if you think about it and you hear the explanation behind it, it makes a lot of sense. Eons ago, when we weren't just fighting traffic on our daily commute, but we were fighting wildebeests and other cavemen, we developed a fight or flight. And that's still something that's instinct today. Social norms say, and if Debbie, if you could come up for a second. Social norms say that when we talk to somebody, our torsos will be straight on with this person. And even though that's not necessarily natural, our instinct, that's what we do, because it would be rude for me to kind of talk like this. You know, it says that I'm not real interested in what you have to say. However, something that hasn't really changed is our feet. Our feet subconsciously say how we're really feeling. If I'm talking to Debbie, I might be like this. Yeah, my torso's straight on. My feet are pointed this way. That means I have somewhere else to go. I have somewhere else to be. I'm not really interested in what you have to say. I'm trying to give you a hint. Be quiet, I need to go. So I had never really thought about that before. That's something that was new to me. But it does make a lot of sense because it's not something that we think about. I might think about, okay, face you straight on, make good eye contact. I'm not going to necessarily think about how my feet are placed. It's more of a subconscious thing. Another thing with the legs is, if you would have a seat, how your legs are crossed. If I'm given a speech or a talk, and my legs are crossed, it kind of puts a wall between myself and the audience. If they're crossed like this to her, that means I'm not interested. If they're open like this means I'm open to what she has to say. I'm willing to talk to her and engage her in conversation. So our legs in that way can also tell people how we're feeling and how we're interacting with them. Then you can have a seat. Thank you. So today I told you about the context of body language, facial expressions, and the rest of the body in body language. I hope you'll be a little more cognizant, not only in public speaking, but in your daily interactions with people. That's all.